A woman is sitting peacefully in a beautiful garden with her eyes closed. Then her coworker wakes her up. It was a dream. The girl's name is Elizabeth, and she is a doctor. She comes outside the room and starts to check the files of her patients. While on her way, she comes across a doctor who is competing with her for the same promotion. He teases her and leaves. After that, we see that as a doctor, she has a busy schedule. She treats every patient that comes her way effortlessly, but she has to drink cups and cups of coffee just to stay awake for her long shift and only eats a plate of salad. On a bathroom break, the doctors are having a discussion that their family lives are very complicated and tell Elizabeth that she is very lucky that all she has to worry about is work and leaves. She gets a call from her sister asking her if she's coming home. Elizabeth says yes, to which her sister replies that she has a man that she wants her to meet, but she hasn't met him in person, and she made pasta for dinner. After the phone call, the senior doctor calls Elizabeth to tell her that she got the promotion and tells her to go home. It's raining outside, and while on her way home, she gets hit by a truck. David is looking for an apartment to rent, and he needs a nice couch, which he can't find in any apartment. A piece of paper falls and lands on his face. It's an ad for an apartment that is just across the street. The apartment is spacious and has a view with a rooftop, but most importantly, it has a good couch, so David agrees. David starts to live a normal life where he drinks beer and sees television. All of a sudden, Elizabeth appears in front of him, accusing him of being in her apartment. Both got into an argument, but then Elizabeth disappears as she walks into the kitchen. Experiencing this, David gets confused and talks about this to his friend Jake. His friend mocks him for being alone and suggests he should try to blend into society and live a social life. Jake makes it a session as he is a clinical psychologist. David refuses to take any help and goes to his apartment. He spends his day as usual, drinking beer and taking a shower, but there was no sign of that girl. At night, when he got to sleep, the girl appeared, repeating the phrase that he is in her apartment. The man starts to ignore her and says to himself that there is no one but his imagination, whereas the girl starts to question him and says to answer them honestly. The first question she asked was, "Did his alcohol consumption increase?" He agrees. The next question she asked was, "Is he hearing voices and seeing things that are not quite real?" After hearing this question, the man became shocked and again agrees with her. Then she asked him if had he consulted any therapist. Hearing this, the man not only got more shocked, but also feared how she could get this information and tells her to stop questioning him. She again accused him that he has fantasized the rest of the apartment. She tells the man to see the back of the pillow where she has stained the pillowcase with red wine and assures him that she also has the receipt of the bed sheets he is laying on, just to assure him that this is her apartment and tells him that he is mentally ill. Then she points out to the side table, saying that she put a picture there. The man replies that when he moved in, there was no picture. Frustrated by this, the girl had enough and threatens him. She walked toward the phone to call the police, but as she swings her hand to grab the phone, her hand passed through it. Both shocked at the moment, the girl asks what has he done to her phone, but he gives a reaction saying nothing. Then she walks fast towards the kitchen to use the other phone, but disappears. He gets more and more scared with this routine. As morning occurred, he calls the agent saying that he wanted to talk to the people owning the apartment so he could get information about the previous tenant. But the agent replies that the owners don't want to talk about it because there was some kind of tragedy in the family. The man asks if there is any possibility that the girl living earlier could have died. The agent then tells the man that he is worried for nothing. He should just enjoy the apartment, as he got it after many difficulties, and people may kill their grandmother for this kind of apartment. The man goes to a bookshop to buy some books on ghosts and spiritual nature so he could know what he is dealing with. A boy appears to help and asks what kind of encounter he has experienced. The confused man couldn't answer the question, so the boy gives him a book for communication with the spirit. But the man tells the boy that the girl has no communication error and talks fine. Hearing this, the boy hands over plenty of books to him. He takes them to his apartment and tries to call out the girl so he could talk to her. But as he uses every method, it has no effect. Exhausted, the man got an idea. He picks up the coffee mug and says out loud that he will set the mug on the table without anything beneath it, which will make a stain on the table. Suddenly, the girl appears and stops him not to do it. The man then asks the girl if she had felt something odd spending her day. The girl then mocks him for being a squatter. The man, wanting a fresh start, tells the girl his name and asks her name. But the girl gets confused because she forgot her name like it didn't exist. She sees a coffee mug with Elizabeth written on it. She calls the name out loud, but the man accused her that she had to see it on the mug and doesn't know her own name. After that, he starts to question her about how she spends her day apart from here. Although the girl had no answer, the man bursts the information of her being dead. Hearing this makes the girl angry. To calm her, he sets his hand on her shoulder, but his hand went through her body, which makes her more angry. As he assures her that he's not here to hurt her, she backs off and replies that she is not dead while standing in between the table. Confused by things, the girl asks what is happening to her. The man again shouts that she is dead, but the girl furiously denies it and tries to slap the man. She tried to mess with the man's face but couldn't touch it. The girl then tries to push the man but slips through the wall by herself, but then appears back in the apartment. Annoyed by this, the man tries to ignore the girl, but it is hard to do so as she is everywhere he goes in the apartment. He takes a shower and the girl sits in the bathroom to irritate him. He watches the television and she interrupts by singing louder than the sound of the television. He tries to increase the volume, but she just starts shouting. He then starts to read the newspaper, but still the girl irritates him. After being annoyed by the girl so much, the man had enough and decides to kick her out through a spiritual process. He starts by calling a priest who throws holy water and shouts some verses, but it had no effect on the girl, and she tells him to wipe the wet floor. The man calls the Chinese spiritual group, who lights some fire in the process. But again, the girl mocks the man that they are going to alert the smoke alarm, which they did. He then called the Ghostbuster team, but sadly they were of no use. Lastly, with no choice, he called the boy from the bookstore. The boy tells him that the girl wants you out, which made both of them shocked. The man tells him that the girl is dead and she is not accepting it. After drinking Coke, the boy corrects the man, saying that the girl is right and she is not dead, and tells the man that he has so much negative energy in him, which he should stop by letting go. The man, frustrated, speaks that the girl does not leave, refusing to accept it. The boy tells him to let go of the one you have in your heart. The man refuses to talk about it. The girl, listening to this, taunts him, saying that he was dumped. Being angry, the man shouts and leaves the kitchen. After that, the boy gives advice to the girl that she should respect the person who is dead. The girl comes up to the man and apologizes. Hearing this, the man discloses that he was married. Her wife's name was Laura, and she is dead. He then goes outside to a bar but got stopped by the girl, mocking that she has no concern. The man goes inside and meets his friend and two women. Talking to the girl, who nobody sees, makes the man weird. He orders scotch, which the girl prevents him from drinking by possessing his body, and starts to fight within his body. She takes him outside the bar where they both get into a fight. After that, the man sits on a park bench and gets annoyed where he sees Elizabeth sitting next to him. Both of them start to question each other. That why is he the only one who can see her? Elizabeth then accepts that maybe she is dead, but the man apologizes to the girl about the bad things he had said. After that, the girl wanted to know more about herself, like who she was, what did she used to do, and seeks the man's help, saying that he has to choose whether he has met a girl in an unconventional way and will try to help her, or he is an insane person sitting on a bench talking to himself. The man then agrees to help her out. Both of them start to visit the neighboring apartments so they could know who she was, but unfortunately, no one had a clue of her. Lastly, they meet a girl who says that she was an introvert and was a cat girl without any cat and tried to invite the man inside, but he refused to come in and walked upstairs towards his apartment. The girl gets jealous. They have a new problem because David forgot the keys inside the apartment and now he's locked out. Elizabeth tells him that she puts a spare key under the fire extinguisher. In the kitchen, David finds a new clue, a dry cleaning ticket and an address. Both of them go to the dry cleaners and ask him, but he also didn't know about her. As their last stop, they got to the address, but the man who came out thought that his wife had caught him. Which assured that both of them read the address wrong. After that, they were passing by a restaurant, which Elizabeth asked to visit. Getting inside, she remembered that she always wanted to eat here, but didn't got the chance. As they were leaving, a man bumped into someone and fell to the ground. Elizabeth, seeing this, told David to go there and feel his chest, and then ordered a bottle of vodka and a sharp paring knife. Under Elizabeth's instructions, David saved the man's life. But after this incident, they got to know that Elizabeth is a doctor. They got to the nearest hospital and seeing all the people, she started to recognize everyone from the receptionist to the doctors. David then asked the receptionist about Elizabeth. David then met her and told her that he was her partner and he wanted to know about her. She told him that Elizabeth had an accident 3 months ago. Elizabeth, hearing this, remembered her accident, how a truck crashed into her, and because of that, she is in a coma now but not dead, which means they might still have a chance. After some discussion, David told Elizabeth to come with him, but Elizabeth wanted to stay with her body. Her colleague comes and tells David that his time is up. David says goodbye to Elizabeth and walks out. Elizabeth then walks around the hospital, seeing everyone she had worked with, and also sees her nieces running in the hospital lobby. Her sister's also there. The boy who was her competitor came in, telling her sister with her permission they would switch the machine off. After hearing this, her sister requested some time to decide, but Elizabeth is not ready as she is standing in front of both of them, so she goes to David. He tells Elizabeth that he hasn't been with anyone since Laura died, that she was a nice person. Then she asks her if her sister would pull the plug on her or not. She doesn't know the answer. She says that her brain activity is decreasing every day. David tells her that he wants to show her something. He takes her to his client's house while he is on holiday. He takes her to the garden of the house. He reveals that he was a landscape architect. He also had his own company. By seeing the garden, Elizabeth is in shock because it is the same garden that she saw in her dream. They promise each other that David will make a garden like this again. When they join their hands, a strange reaction occurs, but they ignore it. He gets a call from his agent, and she tells him that he is lucky because the owner is giving him a nice long lease. Upon asking, she tells him that the tenant is in a coma, but they are pulling her plug. David cuts the call and says that they have to talk to Elizabeth's sister. David says that to convince her, he needs to know her secret that only Elizabeth knows. She tells David that she kissed JJ, who is her ex, 5 minutes before her wedding. When he is about to tell this to her sister, her niece comes in, so he stops. He tells her that Elizabeth was that doctor when he had spinal meningitis, which is not even a real disease. He says he recovered because Elizabeth believed in him, so they should also believe in Elizabeth. Abby says that she is sorry because she has already signed the papers. David gives up and tells Abby the truth. Abby sends the children to the next room, takes a knife and tells David to leave. He tells her about Johnny J, and she gets mad and starts chasing him. He leaves and tells the boy about her situation, asking him how they can put her spirit back in her body. He tells David that the real question is why only David can see her. He gets confused and returns to his apartment. He asks the same question to Elizabeth, but she also doesn't know the answer. While they are having this discussion, Elizabeth spots her favorite picture on the table and asks David why it is there, to which David replies that he took it from the hospital. He wanted a picture of her because he was not sure that he would ever see her again. Elizabeth gets emotional and tells her that her scores were low. She wanted to go back and study, but her sister took her to drink margaritas. It was the first time she had failed at something, but had more fun than she'd ever had in her life. She is in guilt because she spent her whole life working and not enjoying it, but she doesn't want to spend her last night crying. When he touched her body at the hospital, she could feel it, but not her niece's. That could be her way to wake up. He wakes up and gets worried, but she is still here. He tells her that he will steal her body from the hospital. Elizabeth warns him about the consequences, but he doesn't care. They need a van and someone with no morals. He has the perfect man for the job. He tells his friend he needs medical supplies to sell them. His friend is not convinced, so he tells him the truth after reaching the hospital. They convince him with a rock, paper, scissors game. His friend asks her why take the risk. He confesses to her. They dress up as doctors and take the bed to her room. After seeing her, he tells David that she was the woman that he wanted him to meet from the start, but she couldn't make it because she had an accident. He knows that because he was a friend of Abby and they went out. She remembers now and tells David that Jake is JJ and tells Jake what he did before Abby's wedding. Jake gets surprised and is now convinced that David was telling the truth all along. They gently transfer her to the other bed, but Brett arrives 15 minutes early. David takes care of it by saying that he's a doctor and is here for a final evaluation, so he needs to run some tests. Brett is calling Dr. Walsh for confirmation, so David punches her and runs with her body. Brett calls security on them. A guard is in front of the elevator, but Jake takes care of him, but realizes that Elizabeth has lost her oxygen supply. David gets surrounded and has nowhere to go. Her ECG went flat and she is fading. David doesn't want to lose her, so he gives CPR to her, but the guards pull her back. Miraculously, her ECG is normal again. She calls Abby and tells her that she thinks she bumped her head. Abby tells the guards that it's okay, so they let go of David. Unfortunately, when he goes to Elizabeth, she doesn't recognize him. David tries his best, but nothing. He tries to hold her hand, but she refuses, so David leaves the hospital. Now both of them are living their own lives. David looks in the restaurant that Elizabeth likes to see if she's there, but she isn't. He goes back to his apartment, which is now Elizabeth's, but she's also not there. After some time, she comes in from the front door with Abby and her sister's husband. Elizabeth then goes to the rooftop, which became a beautiful garden and is filled with flowers. She was amazed and found David there. She asked him, how did he get in? He says that he used the key under the fire extinguisher. She asked him to return her keys as they both touch their hands. Elizabeth remembers all the moments she has spent with David, and at last they hugged. That's it for today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.